Last night on Checkpoint, we brought you a day on the campaign trail with Jacinda Ardern. Chris Bramwell filed for us, and it was full of something not heard in a Labour Party ground campaign since much earlier this century, a sense of hope. Now, National are a third-term government going for fourth. Their mantra is reliability, stability. When Kelvin Davis said Bill English had the personality of a rock, the Nats made a virtue out of that. But after so long in Parliament and government, how do you campaign? What do you sell yourself on? Demelza Leslie went to find out.
Good morning. Nice to meet you.
Bill English isn't new to campaigning. He's been doing this since 1990. He's also campaigned as National Party leader before, be it unsuccessfully in 2002. On the trail, Mr English is usually up and about before 6 a.m. Today's no different. He's picked up by a Crown car from his home in Wellington just after 7 to make an early flight to Hamilton. No time for breakfast at home, so it's just a quick bowl of yoghurt and muesli and a coffee in the Koru lounge while he waits to board his flight.
I've lost a little bit of weight, just occasional eating, I think, but I do make sure I get plenty of sleep.
First stop in Hamilton is a company that builds packhouse machinery, BBC Technologies.
Any questions?
Following a briefing and tour around the factory, Mr English was challenged by one of the employees. Before having his photo taken with all of the staff. On his way out, he told me he had learned a great piece of advice in there.
So one of his messages was that the limbs you come to work with should be the limbs you go home with.
Will you take that message to Parliament?
Well, Parliament's not quite as dangerous as that, but when you're working around, fast-moving heavy machinery, then it's probably appropriate there.
It's back in the Crown car in time to make some calls back to the office. Mr English then arrives at Mystery Creek to speak to a group of internet companies, announcing the government's plans to expand the rollout of ultra-fast broadband in mobile hotspots.
So the UFB will now be extended to 190 more small towns, taking us to 390 towns. And when we started, we were aiming for 34.
Afterwards, he briefly chatted with those there. And as the rain poured down outside, Mr English parted from the crowd to speak to the media in an empty warehouse.
You can never be confident of your support anywhere. You've got to keep going back to earn it. It happens that here in Waikato, this is a good venue that reflects the regional reach of the ultra-fast broadband, but close to Auckland for the other events that we've got later in the day.
Following this, it was into the Crown car again, where Bill English popped into a cafe on his way to the next event. He managed to have a quick bite to eat, devouring a steak and cheese pie and a hot chocolate. Mr English says eating is somewhat unpredictable on the campaign trail.
And events are unpredictable. You never quite know what's going to happen. Probably the most difficult thing is when travel's disrupted. But it's amazing how flexible people are because there's real public interest in the campaign.
Next stop was a meeting with the local Waikato Young Farmers Group in the farmhouse of Jim and Sue Vanderpoel in Nahinapori.
It's nice to get here into the heart of the Waikato. Too often we're just in and out of town or on the main roads.
Mr English fielded questions about the rural-urban divide, farming changes and suicide, and was clearly at ease in this environment. He stayed for about an hour before being whisked away. On the drive to Auckland, he made some more calls back to the office before arriving at TV studios, where he was on the panel for the show The Project. Bill English then completed the evening with a Facebook Live for half an hour with his daughter, Maria.
Licorice chocolate logs. I remember we used to drive every Christmas holidays from Wellington to Ditton, and whenever we stopped at a petrol station, you'd always grab one of those.
That's right. One reason was just to get out of the van because it was so noisy with you kids in it.
Yeah.
But very nutritious and sustaining.
Maybe chocolate logs are now going to be Bill English's new spaghetti pizza. He was back in his hotel by about 9 p.m. to get a good night's sleep. Bill English will do this all again tomorrow and every other day remaining until September 23rd. In Auckland, for Checkpoint, Demelza Leslie.